I haven't been live on here for a couple of few. I'm watching her. She's behind me. I am going to share with you how I make my cold brew. Why do I don't need for cold brew. It's cold brew. I make it at home, and I figured out a way that it is Starbucks-ish. It's mom brand. Starbucks-ish. It's pretty strong. It can go from kind of strong to really strong, and so I have figured it out, and I'm going to put it in a full blog post. This is probably going to go on my YouTube channel as well, but I'm about to do it now because I like to give it 12 hours. I like to do it from when I plan on having it in the morning. Okay, so there are a couple of things that I bought to help in the process. These are the things. So like I said, I'm going to have a full blog post so you can have all the links and everything, but this is the video, and I'm tired. I hope you guys ladies have been well. I use a 64 ounce, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a 64 ounce jar, a mason jar to do it, but you can use whatever the hell mason jar or jar you want. I use this. I bought this at Target, I think, and Amazon, but you can find it other places. Again, if you go wait, or you'll see the blog post, it will be linked there, because this was like let's say it's less than $10 for this big jar. I use it for a bunch of different things, and so it wasn't just like, okay, I'm just gonna buy this for the cold brew. I use this to keep rice in or flour in or whatever it is. The other thing that I have is called the tube. I bought it on Amazon, of course, and it is literally just a tube, and it's to keep the coffee grounds in the jar. Okay, so that's the way that it's gonna look in the jar, and the coffee goes in here. The difference between cold brew and iced coffee, there is a difference, is that iced coffee is made from hot coffee and then it's cooled down, as opposed to it's brewed in hot with hot water. There we go. But cold brew is literally brewed in cold water or room temperature water, and it just takes a longer time in that water to brew. The whole thing though is that for cold brew you need to have done it ahead of time. Iced coffee you can kind of make on the whim. You could just put ice in hot coffee. Basically put it in here, leave it on the counter, take this out in the morning, done, drink the coffee. So it's really kind of lazy. It's lazy coffee. Iced coffee is actually a lot more labor intensive, but this just takes time. Needs time for it to brew. The thing that makes cold brew better, in my opinion, is that cold brew is actually less bitter than iced coffee. Iced coffee is really, once the hot water gets over it, it actually makes it more of acidic, and it's more bitter compared to cold brew. If you had cold brew, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a little bit sweeter. It's less. It'll make your pee smell less, in my opinion. You need this. You'll need water, and you need coffee grounds. Now, I am using coffee grounds that I actually went to the store, ground at the store, and then I brought them home. I did this yesterday. To me, you want to decrease the amount of time between the coffee being in bean form to it actually being in in your coffee. The less time there is in there, the stronger the coffee is going to be, the flavor is going to be there. Ideally, if you have a coffee grinder, which I do have it as well, I just didn't use it this time, you can grind it right away and then put it. Every time I turn around, she ain't doing nothing, She just looking back at me. But ideally, you can grind it right away and then put it into the cold brew. I try to go for between 12. This is gonna sound like a lot, but it's gonna make a concentrate, and so you can water it, dilute it, as you want. I try to go for between 12 to 16, if you want it really strong, tablespoons of coffee. Now, if you want to go and buy Folgers or whatever you want to do, but get some good coffee. You might as well splurge on the coffee because it's going to be cheaper for the whole the whole drink anyway, because I paid $6.35 for this portion, and it was like the better part of this bag, and I can get maybe 3 of these 64-ounce things worth of cold brew out of that. So that's really, really cheap. 12 to 16 tablespoons in this tube. And then you're just going to pour water over it and let it sit overnight. The longer, you don't want to really go longer than, like, some people do 24 hours. I don't really like to do it that long, but because I can't wait that long. But past that time, then it doesn't really taste as well. So, you know, 12 to 14 hours is ideal. Around 16 in the bag. And I also have like a coffee container that I put the rest of it in. So I'm just going to go and put the rest in the tube. Then, see, that's how it is in there. Then I'm going to pour water over it. Now, some people use filtered water. I do filter my water because I have hard water in my house. But you don't have to, okay? New York water is still better. Sorry, Jersey. 8, yeah, just about 8 cups of water in this container. Okay, this is what it looks like. You can see the tube in there too, and you can the grinds, coffee grinds, whatever. The coffee is in the middle part, and I like to make sure that the coffee is completely submerged as much as possible, because then I just want to make it as strong as it can be. Because if you make it strong, you can always put more water in it when you go to serve it, you know, or to drink it. But if it's too weak, who likes weak coffee? It's like, what's the point? Not even what's the point, but who likes weak coffee? It's whack. That's it. I put it in this thing, put it on the counter. You could put it in the refrigerator if you want, if you want to. But I put it on the counter. I put the cover on it. I think the cover's in the dishwasher. Put the cover on it, leave it on the counter, 12 hours, 12 to 14 hours. So you can ideally do this at night, you know, like when you're finished cooking. That's what I usually do. And then have it for the morning and take it what you put in a container and everything else. As I said, this has several cups of coffee in it. Again, the stronger you make it, then you can ideally have it like as a concentrate and then have it throughout the week for one person. This can last us a week or not, depending on how much or little she sleeps. But it's way cheaper. If you make it well and it's not hard to make, it's way cheaper than going to Starbucks, okay? I like to use, preferably, because coffee is one of the things that's sprayed a lot, organic coffee if I'm able to get it. Again, the thing to me is get a good coffee and then also try to grind it and use it as quickly as possible, okay? I don't buy the ones that have been ground and then in the can and just sitting there for a long time. I don't do that. I will either buy whole bean stuff. If you go to Trader Joe's, you can buy a whole bean coffee they have and then grind it at the coffee grinder, or at Whole Foods, same thing. Or you can buy a grinder yourself for your home, which is not very, very expensive. And that's a whole other conversation. But I can get into the types of coffee, that's another day. But this is how I make my cold brew. Okay? Let me know if it was helpful for you, and let me know if you make it. Bye.